business. We run a marketing company called VR Trading Namibia. We also own a photography business specializing in wedding photography and wedding filmmaking called Vintage Rose Namibia. We've been doing this for almost 2 to 3 years and we've been having a blast of a time. Before we started with these businesses a few years ago, I've been working at Namibia Ship Chandlers for almost 8 years to be exact, and it has been a great journey for me to learn a lot about myself and also to learn a lot about business skills, administration skills, and how to work with people. It's really been an inspiring and yet exciting journey where we find ourselves, and also with our relationship with the Lord and how the Lord has inspired us to do these things that we are doing right now. For me personally, I'm 34 years old, as I've said before, but only at the age of 30 I discovered that I can be creative. And my whole life, I've always doubted myself in the things that I wanted to do, the things that I wanted to try out. Even when I was at school, I can remember in grade 10, 11 and 12, I always wanted to be a rapper, and even today I can't see that fitting in with my personality. But that's what I wanted to be. Why? Because I was listening to music and I was looking at all these rappers on TV, in magazines, on social media at that time, or on the internet. And so when I was looking at them, I wanted to be like them because they had that whole image that was so attractive to me. And so in my journey with the Lord has been teaching me, or been inspiring me to see that the identity that I needed to have is the one that He gave to me. And in this identity that I found in the Word and in my relationship with Him, this is how I discovered that I was born to be creative. I was born for filmmaking, designing, and all these great things that I've been doing. I'm passionate about photography, I'm passionate about videography, filmmaking, I'm passionate about marketing and understanding how social media and the analytics of the internet and technology, how it all comes together and it's being used for businesses. So I want to tell you that in the next few weeks we'll be having a live streaming event as we are marketing and as the adverts are going on social media. But I want to ask you to come, join in, tune in live on Facebook. It'll be a roller coaster of a ride to listen to us as me and my fellow brothers and sisters in the Lord share our life stories, share the ups, the downs, the lows and the highs, and you will come to see that we're not so much different from each other, but you will come to see that what we have achieved, you can also achieve. See you there. My name is Alvin Rautenbach. Tonight it's my turn to share my life story and life journey with you all. For everybody tuning in, welcome to Kingdom Gateway's live stream event and called Chosen Generation. Tonight I have a few things that I want to share with you and bring about a conclusion to where I was and where I found myself. My topic for tonight is spiritual sonship, connecting you to your destiny. But as the story progresses, you will get why that title. So to introduce myself properly, I'm 34 years old. I'm married, been married for 8 years. I have two beautiful daughters. One is 6 and one just turned 12 recently. And you know, I'm at such a happy place at this moment in time. And you know, even though there's this epidemic and state of emergency and lockdown and everything, but where I find myself, where my family and I find ourselves, we are just really content, blessed, really, really happy inwardly. But as I'm going to start telling my story, you'll understand why I just made that statement. So to give you a bit of background about myself, let me go back to, should be around about 1996, 1997. I was about 11 years old. So at that age, my mother met my stepfather. He was a boyfriend then. And shortly a year after that, they got married. That was in 1998. I was in grade 7. So that's where my journey started into having a father figure in my life. Now you must remember, before my stepfather came into the picture, it was only my mother, my grandmother, me and my other two brothers. So just think about it. A single woman, her mother, my grandmother, and 3 boys growing up in Narraville, 2 ladies having to bring up these 3 boys. And I mean 3 boys. And who's going to father them? Who's going to be their father figure? Who's going to mentor them? Who's going to be able to tell them about their ability, about their potential? Who's going to direct them in life? So growing up in that household, there was a lot of love, sometimes less than what it should be, but not having that father figure, that not male, but a father figure in our lives really created some, some shortcomings within us. And that was about, so in 1998, my mother got married, beautiful wedding. She got married to my stepfather. His name was Brian Stone. He passed away a few years ago, or relatively long ago. But in any case, so when they got married and we moved into a house together with him in town, he put me into a different school, and then a lot of things changed for me. I started doing karate, I started playing rugby at school, and I never had this experience of having somebody wanting to come watch my games, wanting to, like we had this thing where when I went for tournaments to Windhoek or stuff like that, he would like book accommodation, he would come and sit at my grading. Like that was really something I wasn't used to. So I never really understood it and never really had a lot of appreciation to it. But growing up further in my life, when I came to adulthood, that's when I started realizing all the stuff that I was exposed to with him being my father. It actually helped me in my journey into becoming a man and into having a family and directing my family now. So going back to my stepfather, you know, this I should mention definitely just to give you a proper picture. He was white. You see, he was white, and my mother was colored, we coloreds. And so there was also this barrier to come across. There was no racism there, non-racially whatsoever. But having this barrier of him being white, us being coloreds, us coming from poverty, and him bringing us out of that into this whole new life of provision, having everything. He even sent my mother and I to a week's holiday in Cape Town. That was my first time being in an aeroplane. I mean, I was 12 years old, going in an aeroplane, going to Cape Town for holiday. That was just something else. And you know, he used to took us for holidays to, what was the first place? I think we went to Midgard. We went to Midgard, and we had this thing on Sundays where we would go to every Sunday we'd go to the beach. And every Sunday, sometimes it got boring, going every Sunday to the beach. And he would try to teach us stuff, how to braai, how to make potjie, how to chop the wood, how to make the fire, mainly stuff like that. And so he owned a business. His business was called Pronto Ship Supplies, and he was doing ship chandling for foreign vessels. And I was about, I think 13, 14, and then he asked me to start to help him with filing and stuff. And I did that for a week, and then I don't know how it happened, but I just left that. But it was really an awesome time in my life. And I think around about 20, I was 16 years old in grade 11, that should be 2002, he passed away. And that was really like, through the journey, him being in my life for 5 years, and the day that he passed away was just like, I was like numb. I couldn't feel anything. But the moment I went home, like my mother, I was in town there that day. I was buying new tekkies. I used to like having new tekkies. I used to play soccer. And I was in town that day, coming home from town. And my mother phoned me to tell me, because he was in the hospital, he had some, not illness, but that thing when like men, they have this thing when they have like stones in the stomach and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about. And he had that thing, so he was in the hospital for a week. And then after that day when I was on my way home from town, my mother phoned us and told us he passed away. And so that numb feeling came. And having him as a father for 5 years, and before that, I was like, for the rest of my 11 years on earth, not having that father figure. So this is a new thing to me, actually feeling something for somebody that's not really your family, but you've gotten to know that he's part of your family, he's your father. And so that day, when I went home, I was just there, and then when I went into the room, I just started crying. And I couldn't understand, why am I crying? Why am I feeling? There was no thought coming up. I was thinking about absolutely nothing. Like, I remember my mother telling me this. I just started crying and weeping, and I was just sad. But that was just like for a few days, and then we moved on. Life is fast. You cry over a person now, and then it's all over. Then for 3, 4, 5 days, a week after that, then it's all over. Then you suppress the feelings, or life just happens, and then you just forget about it. But in any case, so after that was around about in grade 11. So the thing is this, when I was in school and he was alive, he would used to help me with not really help me with my schoolwork, but he used to check up on me a lot. Tests, and when we got detention for not doing homework, he would come to school. So there was that kind of accountability that he brought to my life. And that was actually very good, because having that in your life, accountability, and a father figure being accountable for you as a son, actually pushes you to do more, pushes you into a position where you have to live a disciplined life. And in any case, so when he passed away, I started seeing my grades dropping like really bad. But not because I was sad because of him. Like I said, I was sad for that week and so on. But afterwards, in my grade 11 and my grade 12 year, not having that accountable person anymore, I was not really that much disciplined in doing homework, studying for tests, studying for exams and stuff like that. And later on in school, in those 2 years, having no father figure also led to not having somebody telling you who you are, and that relates to our identity. And not having an identity led to me looking for an identity. And so in school, there was this new rapper that came out. I used to love music a lot, like a lot. And there was this new rapper came out called 50 Cent. I know all of you are laughing probably right now. And like my best friend and I, we were like fanatics. So we would go after school, putting the CD into the hi-fi. We had hi-fi those times. There weren't like USBs or MP3 players or Apple or iPhone and stuff like that. So we put it in the hi-fi. We took the earphones, plugged it into the microphone, and then we used the earphones as a mic to rap.
And you know, with those days, with the CDs, when you buy them, they have all the songs' lyrics lined up within it. So we took out the booklet and started memorizing those lyrics and rapped it and so. And by doing that, like for enough time, I realized, but I wanted to become a rapper. I wanted to be like this guy, 50 Cent. And you know, like if you don't know him, you can actually Google him. He has like a bullet wound in his cheek. And so he has this way of talking where his words aren't really pronounced properly, or he's not really speaking properly. So I wanted to adjust my speaking to his. That's how bad it got. That's how bad my loss of identity was. And so finishing grade 12, it's Namibia, and so we have a really high unemployment rate. So after school, struggling to find a job. And you know what happened was in grade 10, just going back quickly, I forgot to mention this. In grade 10, there was, I so much wanted to study marketing. So in grade 11, we had Entrepreneurs Day at school, and we had all this university bringing their pamphlets and stuff like that. And I was going through the pamphlets, and then I just realized, but I want to study marketing, and I wanted to go to varsity college. And we also had, my mother took out, I think I was about I think when my mother got married, she took out a study loan. So in grade 11, or by the end of grade 10, I was talking to my mother about studying after school, and she shared with me the bad news that because of our I'm not sure how it went, but in any case, the study loan was just gone. I'm not sure if they stopped it or whatever they did, but there was no more study loan. And so she convinced me to rather take the business field, sorry. And so I was terrible in accounting, business studies. I actually should have taken the science field though, because that's the field that I'm in today. But I'll get to that. I'll get to that. In any case, so finishing school, not going to study anymore, looking for a job, not finding a job, it's kind of depression, being broke, being finished with school, being broke, and just feeling like your life is actually going nowhere. And not having this person that I had for 5 years that used to talk to me, that used to inspire me. Even when I was doing karate, he was the one that actually convinced me to start karate. And I actually did well. And you see, the thing is, what you must remember, not growing up without a father, you have this thing, you have this lack of confidence, this lack of self-belief. And so when you lack those fundamental things, you can imagine when you're finishing school and your parents are struggling, my mother and my grandmother are struggling financially, and she just has to work to make sure that she puts bread on the table, pays the electricity bill, water bill, and so on. And not having like really any direction or any purpose or any aspirations or desires of what I want to do, just put me in a place where I felt depressed. But not like depressed as in suicidal, but just like down and out and just feeling like there's nothing more to life. Everything's going nowhere. And like we were conditioned in such a way that you have to have a job to feel like your life is going somewhere, you see. In any case, so I think that was like, so after school, couldn't find a job. I think eventually in 2004, 2005, I was introduced to, like, my friends took me to soccer practice, like the second division team. So I started playing soccer, but yet again, not having confidence. I know I was a soccer fanatic, so I can't mention my team's name. You guys are gonna laugh. So, but that I'll mention probably later. But in any case, so I started playing soccer and not having really self-belief. I played, like even today when I'm thinking back, I played really bad starting off. But then they brought in this coach. And this coach, I can't remember his surname, but his name is Lawrence, and he used to be a gym instructor. So he was really fitness orientated. So what he did was, he took the whole team and he put us into a 2-week fitness, pre-season fitness thing. We used to run dunes. In the east wind, we used to run. In the heat, we used to run. We used to run stairs until you puked. But in 2 weeks, he got us fit. I mean fit. We could run for an hour and a half without getting tired. Only thirsty, not tired. So when the season started and I was fit, not having all the abilities needed to be a soccer player, but we were all fit. And so our game plan was just from the back, the defender blast the ball up front. Me and other two guys are up front. We just chase down the ball. When we get the ball, we just look for where the goalposts are and we shoot as hard as we can. And like doing that, like for a few games afterwards, I was gaining confidence. I was becoming better and better in my way of playing. So eventually, and I was about 20. I should be about 20 that time, 19 turning 20. And doing that, I started scoring a lot of goals, like 3 goals per game. And I was, at that moment, I think, second best scorer in the league. And that was just like a few weeks before the newspaper cup came out. And so what you must know is, in Namibia, if you're going to play the newspaper cup and if you go for trials and you get drafted into the newspaper cup, you are indefinitely being looked at for the national team. So leaving everything that I wanted to do, studying marketing and all that, the soccer thing was just feeding my identity. So I wanted to be the soccer player. So everything that grabs my attention enough, and I start engaging it, if I can say that, and I start excelling in it, it actually boosts my confidence, which I lacked from not having a father, which these are the foundations that I should have had. When I had that with the soccer, that's how I saw myself. And in any case, so 2-3 weeks or like a week or 2 weeks before the newspaper cup, and what you must also remember in Namibia, like, this is not like, how can I say this? It's not like set in stone, but usually what the coaches do when they start, before the players goes and plays trials, the coaches that are selecting the boys to play for the newspaper cup, for the Rongo region team, they would already decide, but I know this boy's stats, I know his goals, I know his fitness, I know what he's done in the second division. So I was already picked for that team without going to have to play the trials. It was just part of the formalities for me. So 2 weeks or a week before the trials, I was in a car accident, really bad accident. My gums were tore, my arm was broken. I had the knob of the gear in my, like, it pierced into my arm. It was really bad. And so after that, it took me like a few months for my arm to heal. And then I wanted to go back. I even had the cast on and I tried to go back to playing soccer again, but it was just never the same. So then I left that, and then afterwards, I think it was about 2007, like not having a job and living with your mother, and always like, these colored aunties, they can nag and nag and nag. You must get a job, I'm paying the bills, and that's also putting more dents into your self-worth, putting more dents into your identity, putting more dents into your confidence, and so on. In any case, so in 2007, I got a job finally, but I was so desperate to get a job to make me feel like my life is moving forward. I got a job as a security guard. Luckily for me, the security guard, the security work that I got was at Coca-Cola. And so I was actually not like, looking after the stuff, but I was used as a loss controller, helping to count the stock and checking the income of empties and the outgoing of orders and stuff like that. And so when the vacancy opened at Coca-Cola, they asked me if I wanted to apply. I applied and I got the job, and my salary summer tripled. And that's when I felt like, now finally I'm getting a hold of this thing. Life is moving forward, things are looking up, eh? In any case, so, not having an identity, going back to that topic, and I'm going back there a lot, eh? Not having that, I started, like, when I started working, now getting a good salary, I spent it mostly on clothes and doing fun things with friends, going clubbing, drinking stuff. I never actually liked drinking that much. I just liked being in the environment, and just wanted not really wanting my friends to accept me, but that was kind of like the status quo at the moment. Like, if you're hanging with those guys, then you have to have something. In any case, so that's what happened. And say around about 2010, I was 24. That's when I gave my heart to the Lord. That was in 2010. And so a lot of stuff changed. I got a different job at Pepsi, and then a year afterwards I started working at Namibia Ship Chandlers, and that's where I worked for 8 years. And then after those 8 years, I resigned. That was now last year, 2019. I resigned, and it's been a year now that I'm full-time. Now, what you must remember that at this moment in time, I own a marketing company eventually, and my wife and I, we also run a wedding business called Vintage Rose Namibia. The marketing company is called VR Trading Namibia, and we actually did really well since last year. Now, what you must ask, the questions that you must start asking now is, what happened between the years 2011 and 2019? So in that space of year now, what you must know is, when you give your heart to the Lord and you're starting this journey with the Lord Himself starts working within you. He starts working with your heart. He starts removing, and He starts restoring you. But in the restoring, He starts removing certain things that was lost. Like not having a father, the Lord became my father. Not having confidence, the Lord put confidence within me. Let me explain. So I was still to today. My pastor's name is Jean-Pierre Jewish, and since 2010 I've been in this church called Kingdom Gateway Ministry. And since 2011, round about, let's say, for 5 years. For 5 years, my relationship with my pastor, Jean-Pierre Jewish, was just, he's my pastor and I'm in this church. And I was blessed. Like 2011, I got married in 2012, 2013. I was blessed, like really blessed. I had a good job, had a good income, like everything was just looking up. And so in that space of time, JP was my pastor, and I was just like one of the family members, but I never came to the place where the Lord Himself showed me and taught me that there's a different dynamic. There's a whole different dynamic of a relationship that you can have with your pastor. And so it came to the point eventually where he became my spiritual father. Now, let me give you some proof to what I'm saying. So, in those few years, in those space of 8 years, the Lord, what He did was, He gave me a lot of dreams. And in the dreams, I could never really understand it from the start, but in every single dream the Lord gave me, whenever, let's say for instance, the Lord was showing me, you should get a house and I'm going to pay for it. And when how the Lord would represent Him within the dream was JP. In every dream, I'm telling you, in every dream, it would just be JP's face. It would be JP telling me something, but I know it's the Lord. And so the Lord was what's the word? He was consistently, bit by bit, teaching me about this whole new dynamic of a relationship that I can have with my past, other than being my pastor, that He could be my spiritual father. And also the thing is, when you're reading the Word, there's a lot of connections, a lot of scriptures that can relate to what I'm saying. But my idea or my desire tonight is just to give you my experience, to share with you my testimony, to share with you my stories, so that you can make up the whole conclusion for yourself. And so this is how the Lord started teaching me about spiritual fathering. But it was only in 2016, my wife got this idea that she wanted to start a bridal shop. And she just got this words, or not the words, but she just got this name, Vintage Rose. And so when that started, I helped her, and we put up the shop. She was selling wedding dresses, and she had a clothing line. And in that space of time, as time progressed, my relationship with my spiritual father, being my pastor in the past, started growing and growing and growing. And as it grew, the Lord started sharing with me what He wants to do with me. He started giving me ideas in business. So the first idea I got was, the Lord shared with me the marketing idea. The Lord shared with me to start up a marketing business. So that was in 2018 when I started that. And then also in the same year, I was around about, it was by the end of 2017, the Lord gave me the idea of marketing. And at the beginning of 2018, the Lord gave me a dream. And in this dream, it was me and my wife taking pictures and filming a couple. Now what you must remember is, in my whole life, I never touched the camera. I never even thought about how it works, how to take a picture, none of that stuff. So this was the first time I had to now, I didn't like, it was also, but when you get a dream, you have to interpret, you have to understand what the Lord is sharing with you to be able to believe and to actually do it. So, but in any case, this is like, on the movies you would say like Scout's honor. So this is Scout's honor. In any case, so I had a dream that this is where the Lord is taking us. And soon enough, we got a new camera, we got some lenses and stuff, and we started this photography business. But I didn't start the photography because I was still working. So my wife was starting with the photography side of the business. And I think by the middle of 2018, I started getting intrigued with videography and filmmaking and wedding filmmaking especially. And I started watching YouTube videos and like doing a lot of research on that. And like, I think it was in May, somewhere in May, around about there, I got my first wedding. And I actually, like, I don't want to brag, but I actually killed it. I killed it. And so it was really good, really well done. And in that moment, I started believing in this thing. And so we invested more, and we got a bit more weddings going to the end of 2018 and to the start of 2019. So eventually I decided, okay, I have to make a decision now if I'm going to pursue this marketing business, this wedding filmmaking and photography business, or am I just gonna stay in this comfort zone and just be comfortable because I'm getting a good salary and so as my confidence grew within myself, I eventually last year now in 2019 June, I resigned and now we're full time. So what you must get about the story is that all this stuff, all this starting the marketing business, the dreams where the Lord directed me into what we must do, and eventually coming from a place where I was couldn't find a job, got depressed, was a security guard, going back to all of that, and today having all this would not have been possible, firstly without the Lord, but also in my relationship with coming to a place where I discovered that there is this whole new world of having a spiritual father in your life. And and a lot of stuff, and I want to get back to the space between 2011 and 2019, because when I mentioned that the Lord did a lot of restoration and transformation, was the Lord healed a lot in me. You see, when you don't grow up with a father, you lack a lot of qualities. Yeah, confidence, self-belief, but you lack the security, you lack the affirmation, you lack all the attributes that every individual, if it be a woman, if it be a man, every person needs affirmation. Like a wife would need affirmation from a husband, like a daughter would need affirmation from a father or mother. as well as a son, we need affirmation. And so, what the Lord did is, He used a spiritual father to father me because I never had a father. And in that space of time, when He was fathering me, the Lord brought me into my destiny. You see? And my destiny was the desire that I had from the start to study marketing. The Lord brought me back to this place. How many years? Just calculate. How many years was this? 10 years. So, if I knew the Lord when I was in school, just think how much time I would have spared, how much time I would have spent into pursuing this destiny that the Lord has for me. And that's not all, eh? You see, that's only the physical side of how the Lord led me, and the physical manifestation of the inheritance, of how, if I can use another word, of the things that the Lord put out for me, the things that the Lord wanted me to have, the place that the Lord has set out for me. These are only having a business and a family and having all this, only the physical side. But on the inside, the Lord restored me. He healed my heart. He mended me. He put me together. You see? He put me so well together. He mended me so well together that today I'm married. I'm happily married. Today my kids grow up. They are growing up with a father. They are growing up with a family. They are growing up with everything that I never had. They are having that today. I'm having a wife today. I'm having a family today. Not having all those things growing up. And that's all because of what the Lord has done. And that's all because of what the Lord has done into bringing a spiritual father in my life. Now what you must understand, the realness of the story is I'm not here to exalt a man, to saying I'm putting this man above. I'm saying I'm putting God and the abilities of God above, and I'm saying this is the order of God. I'm just giving you my testimony. I'm just sharing with you my story so that you can decide for yourself, is this real or is it not? And what you must also know about me is I'm not a gullible person. I'm not a person that is easily persuaded. I'm very, what's the word? I'm very, not picky, but I would first want to check out a thing before I just, if you come and tell me a story or come and share with me something, like I'm not always like that, but certain things that would sound mystical or far-fetched or too spiritual, I wouldn't just dive in and believe that or like grab hold of that. I would first check the thing out. So that's why when I gave my heart to the Lord in 2010, it took me a few years to really start grasping this thing, to really start taking hold of this thing. And a small thing I want to share with you is that my wife and I have been together for a few years, and we got married in 2012, and I only discovered, or I only got this relationship with my spiritual father around about in 2016, 2017. But my wife started this business, Vintage Rose, in 2016, meaning that she already had this relationship with him. And it's with her that I started discovering that there's much more to this relationship. And I was always thinking like, but this man's not my father. How can I just share my heart? How can I just share my past, embarrassing things, disappointing things? How can I just share stuff with this person? But I'm not emphasizing on just sharing stuff. How can I have this intimate, trusting relationship with a man that is just a natural man, that has his own wife and kids, that I'm having this relationship with this man and trusting this man and believing that God speaks through this man. But here's the proof. Here's the proof. My life is the proof. My life is the testimony of this relationship that, that, that we are supposed to have. Well, that's why Jesus also had a father. He also needed a father. And if you're looking in natural terms, you would say Moses was his stepfather. But he wasn't. He was his father. And so I had a stepfather. And even up till today, I'm only saying stepfather right now because so that you can understand. But to me, he's my father. My real father, I never knew him. I heard about him. I saw pictures about him. I have sisters in Cape Town. But he was never really my father to me because I never knew him. But my stepfather was my father. And when he passed away, the Lord provided me with a new person in my life that would bring me to my destiny, that would bring me to my purpose. You see? And so sharing all this with you is I thought it was going to be quite hard. It's actually quite inspiring, thinking back upon my life, thinking back, like just picturing for myself where I was, what I had, what I didn't have, and looking at where I am now, and looking at, and this is not the finish line. There is a lot more where the Lord is taking me personally. There's a lot more where the Lord can take you. There's a lot more to life than just having a business, having money, or even having comfort, having security, having a family. There's a lot more to life because in life, everybody has a destiny. Everybody has a purpose. You have a purpose. You have a purpose as you sitting there right now. You have a purpose in your life. You have this ability, this potential that is lying dormant within you that you have not come to discover. And I forgot to mention this. Only at the age of, I'm 34, only at the age of 30 years old, I discovered this world of creativity, this world of design. I never thought that I could design anything. I didn't see myself in that picture. But the Lord helped me to come and discover this whole new world. So for you as well, there is potential within you that is lying dormant, that you have not realized yet. Or there's something there's desires that you know you want to do, but you've not taken the step to pursuing this. I'm not saying leave your job. I'm not saying go and find a spiritual father. I'm saying ask the Lord. I'm saying ask the Lord, Father, why have you created me? Why have you created me? And the Lord will lead you to wherever, to whoever, to whatever that you were created to do. Spiritual sonship leads you to your destiny, my friends. It leads you to a place where the Father heals you, He mends your heart. Like thinking back now, I like growing up, and so I always used to believe that I was ugly because a close family member used to say that to me, but not in an ugly way, just like in jokingly but consistently. If somebody says something you consistently enough through a course of time, because you don't have a full picture of who you are, you don't know your potential, you don't know your destiny, you don't know your purpose, you would start believing everything that you see around you. So I believed that I was ugly. I believed that I wasn't that smart, all those things, until I came to the Lord and I discovered this whole new person within me, this whole new being, this potential, this ability that the Father has given unto me. So my friends, it's just a privilege to be speaking to you all. It's a privilege to be sharing with you all. And I want to emphasize on that point again. You have a destiny. You have a purpose. Right now, as you're sitting there, the Lord can speak to you in whatever way. He can speak to you through a movie, through a message. He can speak to you in whichever way. Just open up your heart and ask Him, Father, who am I? That was my question. And He answered me. And He led me to this person, my spiritual father. And from there, my journey it took momentum. And it's still taking momentum. So I just feel, I feel led to pray for you all. I feel led to just bless you, to just declare the blessings of the Father over you. So please just remain seated. Just close your eyes with me. I wanna bless you. I wanna pray for you. Father, thank you for the ability that you have placed within each person, Lord. You have placed your most prized possession within each person, Lord. You have put Christ within them all, within us all. Father, I pray right now that Christ be formed within everybody. I pray every single person listening right now, that Holy Spirit, that you would speak to them, that you would hinder them, dat julle sal pla until their ears open, until they hear you, until they want to hear you, so that you can tell them not just about you, not just about the Father, but also about themselves, also about their position within the Father. So Father, Lord, I declare blessings over all of you. I declare the ability to see God, the ability to experience God, the ability to perceive Him, to see Him, the ability to receive God wherever you are. Holy Spirit, may you uplift their hearts, may you heal their hearts, may you mend those broken hearts, may you heal the depressed, may you heal the disappointed, may you bring all those lacking self-esteem, lacking self-worth, lacking confidence, may you heal them, restore them, bring them to this place of confidence in the Lord, confidence in Christ. Bring them to this place where where their backs aren't bent down, but upwards, straight up, chest out, and proud to be a son of God. So Father, I release grace unto you all. I release wisdom and understanding of your Father. I pray that that each one of you shall find your spiritual father, that each one of you shall find your destiny, that each one of you shall find purpose. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So guys, thank you all for tuning in. It has been great talking to you all. I hope all of you got the numbers down. I would really appreciate it if you do call me, do call us, do send us a message, connect with us. Like this is not a once-off thing. We can build a relationship. We can chat more. I have a lot more to share that I would like to share with you guys personally. So bye for now and tune in tomorrow night again.